Hello everyone and welcome to Sinful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting that war against the Grey. Today we're going into the Collecting a Battalion or the Building a Battalion series again, and today we are going to start looking at Stormcast Eternals. The Stormcast Eternals are Sigmar's mighty demigod warriors who fight to save the mortal realms and cleanse them from the taint of chaos, death and destruction. So what are we aiming to do in this series? Well, let's start with talking about what is a War Scroll Battalion. So, a War Scroll Battalion is a special formation comprised of various units that by taking said units will give you access to additional abilities for the units inside said War Scroll Battalion during the game. This is really cool as it creates a fun thematic sort of army that has some narrative implementations to it. All battalions are based upon the narrative and forces that will generally fight alongside each other see to be together in battalions. But why are we doing this? And so, as mentioned, collecting a battalion can be a great way to collect to a theme. Building to a theme is really cool. You can have something unifying, you have a story behind your army. It gives you a goal to strive towards and an endpoint to reach as well. The reason for this is like a goal to strive towards, you have this battalion that you can try and fill out. It's a set amount of models that you're trying to complete to get. It gives you an end goal of this battalion is done, it's fully fleshed out, this is done. You get bonuses as well for playing with the models as mentioned, and they thematically go together. This is really cool. Playing to the narrative and getting bonuses because your army is narrative is a really cool thing to have happen to you in the game. And it's a chance to try out models you might not otherwise take. This is cool because some battalions utilise models that might not be the best on their own war scroll, but put them into a battalion, combine them with other things within the battalion and how the battalion works within an army, and they might actually be something better than the sum of their parts. So let's go into what's the plan. So we're looking to build an army focusing on the battalion in question, whatever that may be. In this case it will be Stormcast Eternal battalions, and we'll go through them all. To thematically build upon a battalion if required, so not all battalions are full or big enough to create a 2,000 point army, and so we'll thematically build upon them if required. So we'll add in units that fit the theme of the battalion of what it's trying to evoke. And to have a framework to set an end goal within. This is a great thing. It gives us a goal to strive towards, and somewhere like even after 2,000 points of where you can go with the rest of the army to fully flesh it out. But let's get cracking into the battalions, and we'll start off with. So today we're going to be looking at the Cleansing Phalanx Battalion. This is one of the battalions that features the Sacrosanct Chamber, which is the most recent chamber revealed by Sigmar. This is the chamber with wizards and engineers. So we'll get looking into the organisation of this battalion to begin with. And so the organisation, you require to be taking 2 units of evocators. That is a keyword bold word of evocators, meaning you can take either regular evocators on foot or the evocators on Dracolines, and in any combination of what you want, which is really cool. This gives you some flexibility with how you wish to build your list. And you also must take 2 units of Sequitors. So they obviously will become battle line if you have a Lord Arcanum as your general. So it's probably advised that if you're taking this battalion, you're probably wanting a Lord Arcanum as your general, so at least those 2 units in the battalion are going to be battle line. If you're trying to go around and take a different general, it means none of this is going to be battle line and make it really hard to fit into a list at probably anywhere near potential ability. But the ability we do get for this is we get, if a unit of evocators from this battalion successfully casts their empower spell on a unit of Sequitors from the same battalion and the spell is not unbound, you can reroll failed hit rolls for attacks made by that unit of Sequitors in addition to the effects of the spell. Which is pretty cool. So this means the Sequitors are going to be rerolling hit and wounds because empower is reroll to wound, so those Sequitors can probably dish out a decent amount of pain, which is quite cool. And in addition, if we have a Lord Arcanum as our general, as suggested before, this means that he can also allow them to reroll saves, and hits means he's not quite as important to be around those Sequitors as he normally would be, because the Sequitors will now just be able to choose by themselves to reroll their saves and then get all the benefits from a unit of evocators near them of reroll hits and wounds. So they'll be rerolling hits, wounds and saves. That's pretty cool in my books. But let's look at this. So obviously we're playing with the army Stormcast Eternals, and we've chosen to not take any of the sub-factions. If Hallowed Knights were able to choose to turn off their magical dispelling or magical ignoring ability, they might be an option, but unfortunately they can't. Like, they just completely ignore. So you could go down that route if you really wish, but one in every 6 times you cast a spell to buff your dudes is not going to work. The realm doesn't matter in this, as realms generally don't matter much where you choose from unless you're going to use malign sorcery. At this point, most people seem to be agreeing to move away from it, so I won't be including it in these battalions. They will probably still use it on the channel. But so leaders, we've taken a Lord Arcanum on Dracoline, and this should tell you what we're going to do with those evocators. He's going to be our general. He's going to have the command trait Consummate Commander. So this is a cool little command ability that he's going to have. Now, in addition, we've got to remember that he also gets some benefits for making the Dracolians around him better, especially when you take into account all the other abilities we've gone for him. But so the command trait we've gone with Consummate Commander is if the general is on the battlefield at the start of your hero phase, you roll a dice on a 4+, you receive 1 extra command point. So this is going to be cool for re-rolling charges. Now, there are some other options, and another one I've sort of thought about taking is Cunning Strategist as well. In fact, now thinking on it, this one could be a really cool one. It's going to give D3 Stormcast Eternal units a 5-inch move at the start of the game. So I think both of those are going to have some value in taking. As mentioned, he's got the Pride Leader command trait, and this just makes all those Dracolians around the main one, who obviously general, just that much better, as add once to hit roll for attacks for friendly Dracoline units whilst they hold within 9 inches of him. So he's going to be rocking around with those Dracolians that we have later down in the list. For spell, he's taken Thundershock. He's going down the Pikachu route. This is cool, does a bit of mortal wounds, and is -1 to hit potentially as well. He's also got the Scroll of Condemnation, which is a cool, interesting artifact that... See, this is something that I really like about realm spells going away. I'm looking more into my own books for artifacts. So the Scroll of Condemnation is once per battle in your hero phase, the bearer can use the artifact. If they do so, pick an enemy hero within 12 inches of the bearer until the end of the turn, add 1 to the wound rolls for attacks made by friendly Stormcast Eternal units that target the model. So that's really cool. Like, if your opponent's got a big model, you can get this guy in and get him and the evocators to deal with it, which can be pretty cool. Now, for a Knight in Cantor, we've chosen to take the Artifact Staff of Focus. This is just a +1 to cast and give it some more casting ability. And the spell Stormcaller. It's random, but I like it. It's got some potential mortal wounds spread across the board. If you get a couple of these off in a game, you've probably killed most of your opponent's 5 wound characters on average. But it's unlikely, but it's a cool spell. And so the reason why it's she or he, whichever model you've got for it, has Stormcaller, is because this one's more likely going to sit at the back with the other units of Sequitors rather than going up, and that auto unbind is pretty useful in a clinch situation. For Battle Line, we've chosen to take a big block of 20 Sequitors. This will be the big hammer in the army, along with 2 units of 5 Sequitors to fill out the battalion, and it's worth just maybe putting some markings on one of your unit Sequitors to make sure you know which unit of 5 is in the battalion. Other units we've taken, we're going to have 5 evocators on foot with spell Celestial Blades. This is just a nice +1 to wound, and then we're going to have the 6 evocators on Dracolians, the spell Celestial Blades as well. The battalion, as we know, is Cleansing Phalanx, and we're also going to take the Chronomatic Cogs for that extra movement. So the idea is getting this army up the board fast and charging your opponent with a big block of Sequitors and a nice big chunky unit of evocators on Dracolians. I think it's an interesting sort of list. Like, this is definitely nowhere near top tier competitive, but I think this is a list that will give you a fun game and give you a way to put some Stormcast down the table and have them fight in an effective manner that really sort of evokes the feeling that Stormcast armies should. This army here, like, a little bit more power to it, and I think this is exactly how Stormcast should play. They should be going across the board, fighting your enemy in close combat and smashing face. Like, that's what Stormcast are in the lore, and that's what I want to see them on the tabletop. But let me know what you all think. I'd love to hear some thoughts and your own opinions on the Cleansing Phalanx Battalion. But that's it for the video. So don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed this. And well, if you've got any thoughts about Stormcast Eternals or the battalions and getting started with Stormcast Eternals, leave them in the comments down below as well. I'm a big fan of Stormcast. I have a decent sized army. In fact, I have a whole warrior chamber that I'm currently painting up. But as mentioned, you can also go check out the links down in the description below. You'll find a link to our Discord server where you can come chat to me and other members of the community. You'll find a link to our Twitch channel, of which you should definitely go give us a follow on Twitch and help us hit 50 followers. We're so close to it. And lastly, you'll find a link to our Patreon if you wish to support the channel in any other way. A big thank you to those people who do support the channel in such a big way. Thank you to our Sinful Guard Militia, Christian Weir, Soren, Philip Ward, and Cow You guys are all amazing. And our Sinful Free Guild Regiment member, James. Thank you very much, mate. But that's it from me, everyone. Stay safe, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the Grey. We'll see you all again real soon.